Hey, this is Stuart. I want you to think about someone from a game or a TV show. Mario, for example. His first depiction looks very different to how he does a decade later, and even now. You see these timelines of art styles and adaptations of your favorite characters. Bugs Bunny, Mickey Mouse, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Like halfway through Part 4, the art style drastically changes. People's art improve, the company wants to go in a different direction, sometimes they just feel like it. I grew up with Skateboard Chuck E. Cheese existing. I think he was called Avenger, but now he's changed to a rock star who just says poggers on live streams.
Poggers!
There's one character I don't feel gets talked about as much with how much his design has changed. He's someone I slowly grown a bigger appreciation for, that being Atlus's own Jack Frost. Jack Frost is a demon from the Shin Megami Tensei franchise. You might say, wait a second, Stuart, I saw him in Persona. Well, yeah, you're correct. The SMT series is known for an abundance of spin-offs, Persona being one of them. One thing that these spin-offs have in common are the demons appearing in each game. What inspired me to make this video was playing through Soul Hackers 2. I've noticed a lot of different types of Jack Frost. I wanted to see just how many versions of this demon there are. I'm going to put this list into different categories, starting with his video game appearances.
Where the video game?
TV shows, manga, and finally merchandise, and just whatever else I put in the back. I will do my absolute best to go over as much as I can find. Don't get upset if you don't see, like, the Stewie Griffin Jack Frost.
Digital Devil Story, Megami Tensei 2, Namco.
Our first iteration is from Megami Tensei 2, Jacko Frost. This design is the most different, acting more as a friendly standard snowman. He sports a red dapper hat, a blue and white striped scarf, a red umbrella with white polka dots, white gloves if you look close enough, and red snow boots. Honestly, this reminds me of Frosty the Snowman.
That's all the money that we had, Karen! I was dependent on that! Why did you do that?
His more iconic design arose in Shin Megami Tensei. Here, he resembles more of a jester snowman, with the blue hat and collar, sporting yellow balls on the ends. He loses his scarf, umbrella, and red snow boots. His boots are now blue, with the collar being yellow. One more thing to note is that his hat has a yellow circle. Going into his artwork, we can see that this circle is actually a smiley face. And we can see the ends of his hat having yellow in the holes. I don't really know what, a lot of these anatomy are called, so just please bear with me. In SMT2, it just feels like they took the sprite and just widened him like an MS Paint. In Last Bible 3, Jack Frost makes a small appearance. His clothes are a brighter shade of blue, missing his yellow jester balls on his collar, since the sprites are too small. He doesn't have the smiley face either. This one has a girlfriend named Carol, who is his ho. Here's one next to an egg.
Eggs! Eggs! E-double-G-S eggs!
The first two Megami Tensei games would receive a remake in the form of Kyu-Yaku Megami Tensei. His original design makes a return, but only having his scarf bigger and keeping his modern face. I really dig this look. It makes me wish we can see some versions of this as an NPC or merchandise. This is the Atlus Print Club machine. Released in 1995, it was published by Sega and developed by Atlus and Sega AM4. It's interesting to see both companies having a relationship this early, because on September 18th, 2013, Sega would purchase Atlus for 14 billion yen. It's cool when Sega did their joint partner showcase and had Sonic and Jack Frost as their representatives for both companies. They also have Ravio and Sammy, starting with Jack's hat. The horns are stretched out like antennas and have yellow balls hanging on the tips. His face looks like a Muppet. His collar is longer and pointy, wearing blue gloves with yellow rims. His shoes are fine. Here's him lowering his head and asking you to call an attendant. In Print Club 2, they use an earlier version of Jack Frost, this time as a 3D model. There's even a training video with him in it. This machine was very popular, and it had spin-offs such as Pokemon. According to Reddit, again, it's hard to research this, Jack Frost and Pyrojack were advertised outside of arcades for a time. There's even a Christmas frame of Jack Frost. a red Santa outfit with the yellow balls on his horns resembling jingle bells.
Jack Frost has joined your party without your consent.
Jack Bros is one of the few games released for the Virtual Boy. You can see the designs are more round and kid-friendly. A bigger smile, wider teeth, yellow gloves and shoes. With the text, you can see this is from Japan. The game was also released in North America as well. Okay. To be fair, this was during a time where box art would be drastically different depending on where you lived. Take the Japanese and North America versions of Sonic. The West Sonic has this mohawk-looking thing. Look at Mega Man. What were they thinking with this box art? He's yellow, he's got a gun. So while this is fitting with trying to appease the Western audience, the dude's got a salad bowl on his head. Devil Summoner gives us a more clean version of his SMT look. His body and face are smaller. The outsoles of his shoes are brown. Pay attention to that going forward. I am dead serious. A part of Devil Summoner are the Devil Busters, a more edgy and hardcore version of Jack and Pyro. It feels like he's got a bicycle helmet on. Yellow balls on the tips of the horns, really large yellow buttons on the sides of his helmet. His eyes are more hollow. He sports a denim jacket with yellow buttons, brown gloves. Shoes are blue in the back and yellow in the front. And he wields what I can assume is a shotgun with a bullet belt around his body. Shin Megami Tensei Persona. The first game is famous for having races swapped in the North American version, called Revelations Persona. What happened? Jack Frost has two different versions. Him as an enemy, his eyes are much bigger. He's got a yellow button on the side of his hat, along with side yellow balls on the tips of his horns. Here's him during negotiations on the side.
Oh my gosh! A floating shopping list!
He looks bigger, with his horns looking more wider and wavier. He's also got blue gloves on. Giten Megami Tensei Tokyo Mokoshiroku, strangely, instead of blue, he's purple. His legs also look like toothpicks. Here we have Rond, the third game in the Majin Tensei series. You know, it flows perfectly with this trilogy. You got Majin Tensei 2, Spiral Nemesis, Rond.
What the f*** am I looking at?
This game uses early 3D models. Jack's horns look way too lanky. I only see eyes and no smile on his hat. Docking up like 1,000 points from that. His yellow balls on his collar are much larger than usual. His outsoles have also changed to yellow. Again, keep that in mind. Persona 2 Innocent Sin. He remains roughly the same from the first Persona. The direct sequel, Persona 2 Eternal Punishment, has his horns curved downward. If you compare both Persona 2 games, you can see his yellows are much darker. Dare I say they went with orange. His gloves are missing the secondary color on the rims, and his belly looks a lot bigger. Devil Children Red and Devil Children Black Book. Jack's been given a touch-up from Devil Summoner, making him more taller. If you look closely on his smiley face, the eyes are more farther apart. I know this is amazing observations. This is why this video took like thousands of years to make. These titles get longer, I swear to you. You got Shin Megami Tensei Trading Card, Card Summoner. This is a Game Boy Color title, so everything is more simplified. Jack's face does look derpy, with single pixel fangs. His smiley face has changed to white, probably due to the limitations. I gotta say, these sprites do look good for the Game Boy. I do wish this was ported to the web. What is that? They made his shoes black, and they gave him a red leg. Demikid's light and dark version. Looking at his demon info, this upsets me. I've mentioned this at least twice by now, but why am I upset over the outsoles of a fictional character? It's a detail so small that you'd think it wouldn't matter, but it did to this version, as well as this figurine that I have, as well as this plush that I have, as well as this plush that I have, as well as this plush that I have. His in-game sprite also has not one, but two yellow balls per color spike. SMT9. This is the base for what will be the standard model moving forward in the PlayStation 2 era of games. You see, when looking at previous artwork, we can see that his flat horns bend along the sides, like how a jester's hat would. But in 3D models, his horns would face in the back. He is missing the yellow balls on his collar, and with the footage I can find, I can't confirm if he has a smiley face on his hat. SMT3 Nocturne. His horns are put even further back. Collar is longer, his outsoles are black, and he has a smiley face. This model remains the same in Digital Devil Saga, Persona 3, Persona 4, and Devil Summoner. Although, to be fair, the art style in that game is more dull than the rest. You can see more shadows in his collar. In Persona 3, the character Akihiko has a weapon called the Jack Gloves, with Jack Frost and Pyro Jack as the faces. We see 2 black dots on his hat. They could have placed anything there, like a McRib, but they sadly didn't.
McRib.
2005 would see the release of Snowboard Kids for the DS. In it, you're kids, and you're on a snowboard. G4 seems to like the concept.
Snowboard Kids DS gets a 2 out of 5.
But something seems off. It shows that Atlus did publish the game, but I feel like there's some missed potential. Jack Frost will become a guest character. We're given a good number of cool artwork of him, such as a new hat.
A new hat!
There's even this cool portrait of him with different colored Frosts. You got the standard blue one, there's also a red, green, yellow, and blah 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 blah. SMT4. His smiley face is removed, he's got yellow balls on his collar, and his outsoles are brown.
For the love of God!
There's also this demon called Tattooed Man. He's got a bad boy Jack on his back, a skull replacing the yellow circle and giving the finger. Okay, to be fair, I really enjoyed the game. You can find Jack Frost cameos at the He-Ho Mart. This one just doesn't have a yellow circle on his hat, but I do like the artwork, so much that I've had this as my iPhone wallpaper for years. Persona 5 Strikers, a sequel title to the original P5 and not the updated Royal, don't fight me, would not just have Jack, but all demons have this red and black mist under them if they were enemies on the field. I'm not exactly sure why, it honestly just ruins the color scheme in my opinion. Sega Fez 2019. Atlus would have their own image gallery showcasing the Persona series, as well as many other demons. We got this really cool image from Masayuki Doi. At first, many assumed this depiction of Jack Frost was just his own interpretation. Little did we know, this was actually a tease for something in the works. During E3 2021, we received our first gameplay look at Shin Megami Tensei 5. The demon fusion was none other than the Sega Fez 2019 drawing of Jack Frost. It honestly was amazing when I found this out. No one else that I talked to cares, but that's fine. I have SMT5 Jack Frost hand sanitizer and they don't. They're nothing. They suck. They have no talent. In 1975, I walked Bob Dylan up on stage.
Who the fuck are you?
Kingdom Hearts 2 has screwed us again.
For the cost of sending an email, we can vote for Shin Megami Tensei Nocturne.
But that's so much.
Here we have the reason for why I wanted to make this video. Soul Hackers 2 Jack Frost. He's got his balls back. If you look closer, his skin looks more frosty, but it's more detailed. I don't know, I really like this one. At the time of this recording, this is the most recent video game appearance for him. This is from Persona 5X, a free-to-play video game that was only going to be released in China. However, the beta was flooded by so many people around the world. Underneath Jack's collar is silver. Same goes for his boot cuffs and outsoles. The Devil Summoner sub-series would branch off into live action, lasting only 25 episodes from 1997 to the end of '98. The first season would loosely follow the plot of the first game, while Season 2 was its own story. The series is not well known in today's age, with it being a niche series from an already niche franchise without the title Persona in front of it. No disrespect, of course. I find this kind of stuff interesting when looking into some of my favorite things. Jack Frost makes an appearance several times. Instead of it being a guy in a suit, he's an early CGI model. It's weird, but I love it. Sometimes less is more. The spin-off series, Devil Children, or Demi-Kids in the West, was made into an animated show from October 2000 to September 2001. In my opinion, I think this was to appeal the rising popularity of the monster collecting genre. It is really cool to see Jack Frost animated. He is such a goofball. If I were to give a nitpick, I just think the brown souls clash with the blue and yellow color scheme. Just like the red and black mist in Persona 5 Strikers. I don't know. I don't know why they keep doing this. Persona 3 would receive 4 separate films based on each season from November 23rd, 2013 to January 23rd, 2016. The protagonist, Makoto Yuki, summons Jack Frost to show his teammates and the audience that he has the power to summon more than one persona. I always thought he was looking up at Rain before researching this video. If you look closely at this demon, her chest has the letters B and J on them, which could mean Jack Frost would have a small cameo in the Persona 5 anime as a plush inside of a crane game. He makes a very brief and blurry cameo in the anime Joshiraku. In terms of animation, that's all I could find. But there is something interesting I want to show. So these are commercials for the Japanese MMO game, SMT Imagine. They went out of their way to make a fully sized Jack Frost suit for this. He's got really fat fingers, his collar and teeth are very thin, and he's missing the yellow circle on his hat. But this is very charming. And with the quality of the video, it looks like his outsoles may be white. Yes, I will die on this hill for pointing it out. The next commercial is something you just need to see. An argument ensues. The woman throws the man's bag off of a bridge. The man uses his demon summoning program to summon a gorilla to retrieve the bag. In comes reverse Super Mario music. The gorilla successfully brings back the bag to his master, only for the woman to again throw the bag off the bridge. This repeats itself several more times until finally the gorilla refuses. The man then switches out the gorilla for Jack Frost. I don't know what she said, but don't worry, there's another one. The same woman from the previous video is walking. She looks further and stunned. It's the same gorilla, but he's trapped under a net. But she rushes into his rescue. But the net was too much for her, and she's slowly dying. Luckily, the gorilla has a half-eaten banana and puts it in her face, and now she's coughing up blood. With quick thinking, the gorilla summons an entire bundle of bananas. She's now fully healed and they become lovers. For the manga, Devil Summoner Raido Kuzunoha versus the Lone Marabito, we can see him given small blushes on his cheeks. It also gives a balance between the hat and the horns in terms of size. This is in contrast to Shin Megami Tensei CG Senki Dante no Man, where you can see his horns are more distinct. His blushes are also lines. Persona Sumi Tubatsu, his hat is completely different. The yellow circle has a will of its own and can blink. Here in Persona 5 Royal, I am dubbing this the wrongfully imprisoned Jack Frost. Set my boy free. This picture was posted by the official Atlas West Twitter account on March 31st, 2023. Jack the He-Hog. Here we have another costume from an event in 2005. There were other mascots such as Mega Man X and Bomberman making an appearance. I can't tell exactly what this is, but I'll leave a link in the description for you to check out. Volume 4 of the Persona 1 manga features Jack Frost with his chutes fully brown. This one kind of sucks. Again, I don't really like the drastic contrast. You know, who could forget the tabletop RPG Jack Frost? I have all my research done, and then I get aggressive ads showing me this with Jack Frost wearing boxing gloves. His collar acting more like a cape in Black Souls. Oh, and you can't forget this one. Not only did they give him brown souls, but also the body shape of number 2 from The Kids Next Door. His boxing gloves look larger, and it looks like there's a crown attached to his hat. Purikura Daisakutsen, released in the arcades and the Sega Saturn. It's an isometric action shooter. In the ice stage, the boss shoots out snowmen that have Jack Frost's face. There's even a smiley face on top. This game isn't well documented, but Jack does have a wiki page. Here's the only thing I can find with him in it. I don't know if he's playable or a rare character, but here's him doing a classic commentator pose. Rosaria Vampire featured Jack Frost as a cameo in the manga. Etrian Odyssey Nexus features the Gunner class wearing a small Jack Frost mask on the side of her head. And finally, we got merchandise. Here we have a denim Jack Frost plush. Now that's too expensive online to buy for you guys, so instead I bought the Jack Frost denim slippers instead. I know it's more comfortable browsing the internet with a mouse pad, but if you ever wanted to rest your wrist on Jack Frost's belly, well, now you can. Here's an entire different line of Jack Frosts called He-Ho Jack Frost. His blue is much lighter, eyes further apart, and his yellow circle sports the Jack Frost face. Here's a Nendoroid sporting gray outsoles. I actually have a few coin-sized figures from Japan that also have gray outsoles. Exclusive from the Shop Atlas website, we have the one and only Jack Frost hand sanitizer. I know how to spend my money. There's a Hugs keychain plush, an ice tray, a gold pin, a shiny figure. You know what? I think that's all. I'm throwing in the towel. I think I'm scraping the bottom of the barrel right now. Coming out of this video, I learned a lot more about Jack Frost than I ever thought I would. But there's other members in the family that I want to make a follow-up for someday. I know this video took a long time to make. It's just, life happens. I got overwhelmed with this video, and, you know, it happens. So in terms of, like, other Jack Frosts, there's the iconic Pyro Jack. You got King Frost, Raiho, and of course... What was that? Did you guys hear that?
Huh? What is this? Hello? Hello? What's going on?